right, everybody. Welcome to the final panel of Multichain Day, dApps and Consumer Products, PayFi, Wallets, Yield, and Swaps. I'm DeFi Dave. I will be your moderator. And to begin, let's start off with quick intros, names, roles, all that fun stuff, and what you're building. Sergej, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sergej Kunz. I'm co-founder of OneInch. So we are the best trading venue in the space with the highest volumes and provide software engineers APIs as well for the integrations and help them to build own unicorns. Additionally, of course, we have end customer products like Wallet and the app where everyone can exchange assets for the best execution.
And my name is Max. I do marketing at Soleo. So we're a SVM L1 blockchain. And we recently launched our public DevNet so people can start building. But within the kind of ecosystem that we're building, we also have several consumer apps. And one of those is Emerald Card, which is a crypto debit card.
Hi, I'm Westo. I'm a developer at Beefy, multi-chain aggregator. I'm sure most people have heard of it. It's like 5 years old now. But I'm also the CTO of CAP, which is an up-and-coming stablecoin.
Hey everyone, I'm Ivo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Empire Wallet, and our mission is to make self-custody easy and secure. We're basically a browser extension wallet, a MetaMask killer, I would say, and we're the first wallet to integrate EIP 7702 and make UX easier for everyone thanks to this.
And I am also at CAP. Forgot to plug that in there. But anyways, to begin, for the first question, for consumer products in Web3 to keep evolving, we need to serve both crypto native users and newcomers. How do we design for both? And where do their needs pull your roadmap in different directions to accommodate? Sergej, let's begin with you.
So we actually are not focused to onboard people from the street because they didn't even understand what we are doing, how does it work. We focus more on centralized exchange users. We are going into the direction of introducing better user experience. So it's very similar to the traditional finance and centralized exchanges. So users don't need even to do any transaction to swap, for example, or even cross-chain. So this is where we go with like adding other chains, also non-EVM chains, to just eliminate the need of a centralized exchange. We drive our two core values. This is non-custody and atomic execution. So there are no middlemen. There are only market conditions, no hidden fees, or so on.
Max, what about you?
Yeah, so I think probably the most relevant to this question is Emerald Card. And, I think probably kind of a mistake that a lot of crypto projects make is focusing too much on Web2 users, and then they sort of alienate their core customers as a result. So for us, I think we definitely build with the crypto native kind of audience in mind. But within that, I think good UX is pretty universal. So that's something that we definitely focus on. And then we're trying to make it as easy as possible to come on chain. So I think as people become crypto curious, like to use our products is very simple and straightforward. And then we're constantly looking for ways to kind of make it even easier. For example, like with on-ramping and finding providers for that. But generally speaking, we just try to build a good user experience and find a product that right now, like with Emerald Card, we have around 45,000 users. And I would say there's pretty good like adoption for it. So I think also like leveraging some of the rewards and stuff like that can kind of bring people in from Web 2, but I'd say it's not like a core focus for us to specifically market it to Web 2 users at this stage.
So I think we're really at the stage of we're building cool technology. So we're writing code, and then we're just like slapping an interface on it. And so like a lot of times that's exactly what you see in crypto. Broken interfaces, things that don't work with mobile, because it's really an afterthought, right? It's not, you're kind of like two parts of your brain. One is like coming up with this new innovative concept and this really cool code that's pushing something forward, whether it's decentralized exchanges or lending or something like that. And then you have the user experience side where you're building this interface and then it's ugly. You don't know what your profit is. You don't actually know how your position's performing. And I think there's like a really big disconnect. So we're kind of in still this infrastructure phase of where we're building, evolving the decentralized exchanges. We're building intent-based infrastructure. We're, improving the lending products. I really haven't seen anybody come and do like a Robin Hood style, like just one size fits all, start to implement every bit of like DeFi infrastructure into it, make it really accessible for people, make it easy to understand, give you all the details you need to know about your portfolio. Are you making any money? How do you withdraw? How do you easily on and off ramp? So I think we're really kind of still in that phase. We try as an application. I mean, we've existed for like 5 years on Beefy and have taken all that feedback, try to create a good user experience, make sure that it's like one click transactions in order to enter and exit vault positions, track all of your user P&L data, which was the biggest pain ever to get all of that data. So we take all that feedback, but we've been around for 5 years. It wasn't our main focus at first. It's like, hey, like we got to build the actual product, make it safe, which is, priority number one. If everything gets rugged, then you're never going to get any users. So I think that's kind of where we're at now in the space.
So I think there is a recurring theme of this panel so far, especially with Sergej and Max, of the projects that have been for a while in the space and are successful have definitely realized that they need to cater to the core audience of Web3 people. That's a really important insight, but it's really cool that actually we don't need to make compromises and we don't need to distinguish between Web2 and Web3 people. In reality, good UX is good UX. So good UX is good for everyone, and Web3 people tend to switch off their brains and click really quickly, and especially when they're greedy, when they're chasing timelines, chasing profit, doing things really quickly. So you can assume that a Web3 user is an absolute ape, and that works really well with Web2 users as well. So we need to optimize good UX overall, and not think about this distinction of Web3 users versus Web2 users. At least that's our take at Ambire, and we take the same exact approach of catering to the Web3 people first, but we believe that Web3 people still deserve a much better UX, and through solving this problem, we will eventually grow the pie of Web2 users, of Web3 users, and eventually blur this line, and eventually one of the audience will become the other. So we're gonna just merge those two audiences. This should be our goal, and not to split it into Web3 people and Web2 people and assume that Web3 people need like some more advanced UI or some more complicated stuff. Just assume that everyone needs simplicity and build towards that.
Don't you think though, like the fear is that we're just recycling the same users? Like, so you come up with a new
We
protocol.
absolutely are. Yeah, we absolutely are. But the thing is, we're not growing the pie because it's just too difficult. But if we optimize it first for our core audience, which is currently struggling, let's face that, if we make the core audience's life easy, then this core audience will grow. Then at this point, some of the Web2 people who are on the fringes sort of Web3 will start going into this, because there are so many people that I know that they're still stuck on CEXes. They cannot move out of a centralized exchange. And this is simply because the Web3 world, the self-custody world, is just not approachable enough. But this is also the same problem that leads to degens losing their funds and getting scammed. It's absolutely the same thing, it's just a different side to it. The Web3 users, we struggle for the same reasons that the Web2 users struggle. So that's the key insight here, I think.
So newcomers, they need to find their inner ape. I'm just kidding.
Or yeah, also.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing philosophically.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still aping perps on Binance, so.
Binance, Hyperliquid, everywhere. Okay, for the next question, from onboarding to swapping, yield and spending, what's your North Star when it comes to approaching UX? And what's the most important UX decision you've made? Sergej, to you.
So simplicity is the main thing from our point of view. So it should be simple as possible. So we are even right now preparing something big for 1st of October this year, and we are also experimenting with the user flows. We are on the point that actually there's, for example, no need for confirmation. So if the user see the rate, they click, it should happen. Yeah. So we try to reduce. So we try to remove what is possible to remove. Same approach we have also in software development in terms of smart contracts. When you can remove something, you should remove it to make it as simple as possible, so it cannot really break or cause maybe a bad execution or adoption. So that's it from my side.
Yeah, to you, Max.
Yeah. So I think for us, probably the North Star is making it possible for people to get on chain and use our products with as few interaction as possible. So I kind of agree with what he was saying before. Like, I think good UX is good UX. I don't think it applies to Web 2 or Web 3. And so if you look at like our Emerald card, we don't yet have a standalone app, but the overall user experience in UI is extremely familiar. It looks pretty much the same as your credit card, would look if you log in online or if you open up your app there. And so I think keeping it very familiar and clean and easy to follow, it's obviously important. And then for our users too, they kind of, in the context of spending with it, they know what they're spending on and they can kind of see the full breakdown. So I think for us, that's kind of how we build. And then, even that kind of decision making, I think, applies to when we're doing UX, we're building out separate mobile responsive designs as well. So we're not having to make sort of compromises between desktop and mobile in that sense. But
yeah, for us, it was like eliminating a lot of the steps it took to do certain actions. So like we started basically as like the largest liquidity yield farming, but adding liquidity and removing liquidity is a pain. So I think in order to just enter into one of our vaults at one point in time, it was like 7 transactions. So we're like, well, that's how do we grow TVL? We're never going to get people. People don't want to do this. You come to your page, they go, okay, this is a good opportunity. You have to go to another website, build the liquidity. Sometimes have to swap 50-50 or whatever percentages in order to get into the liquidity position. Then have to come back, do approved transactions, then deposit. So when we originally built our Zap, it was like a huge improvement in user experience. And then once we started integrating like DEX aggregation so that we'd have like the best swap routing, which we use 1inch and stuff for, that was also a major improvement. And so I think like eliminating a lot of the transactions, listening to feedback from users, I mean, those were the major points I think that we did in order to improve.
So that's really cool because Empire was born out of the 2020 DeFi summer problems of having to split your liquidity 50-50 and having to first approve swap, etc., etc. So your app was a big inspiration for this. Indirectly, of course, there were many others which kind of behaved the same. So that's really cool. But the North Star for us has been simply not churning users. And that's really easy to identify from product metrics. When you churn a user, it's really important to find out why exactly, and it's really important to connect with this user on a human level and understand their frustrations. So this was the biggest game changer for us, starting to do user interviews. And the way we do them, we jump on a call, they have to broadcast their screen, and we just see them use the product, and we don't give them any hints, or we try to not to give them like suggestions. Like for example, when you use AI, when you use ChatGPT, you can sort of lead it on with your prompt. This is the same with humans. Like if you indirectly give them enough information for them to use your product without friction, they will. So you have to try to give them your product with as little context as possible and to watch them figure it out. That's really the most important thing, and that was a game changer. So this then led to the recurring theme of the conversation, which was removing steps and taking steps away and just making it simpler in terms of clicks. But this is sometimes counterintuitive because sometimes like 2 or 3 clicks is better than 1. If you are about to present a lot of information to the user at once, then this can get confusing. So it's sometimes better to break it up into multiple steps. But there is like a golden ratio there of not too many steps, but not too few steps with most of the things. But yeah, the user interviews have been the game changer for us.
Simple is better. That's what I've taken away from
Generally yeah,
speaking.
that's the recurring theme, yeah.
All right, so then moving on to the next question. As mobile usage grows, how are you approaching mobile-first design, and what trade-offs are you making between convenience, security, and functionality? Sergej, to you.
Oh, yeah, we try to cover everything. So security, user experience. So in terms of mobile first, we don't have mobile first. We have 3 teams, and all of them get the same deadline, and they need to deliver. They can die in between, but they have to deliver. So so we try to keep the high quality on all the products, and it's still not where it should be. I fully agree with what was said before. We have still this terrible experience, and yeah, we need kind of more talents, I think, in our space who are moving from the traditional world. We at 1inch we hire also, so everyone is welcome to share CVs to us. So to improve it, because like I see like a lack of experience in also in UX, UI, and mobile application development, and I wish to see more talents coming into our space. So yeah, in general, our priority is just to provide on iOS and Android natively. And also the app, almost the same experience. So people feel the same when they switch from mobile phone to a computer.
Max, to you.
Yeah, I think I sort of alluded to this in the previous response, but we have a separate design for mobile. So I mean, I don't feel like when you use the product, there are any particular trade-offs between the desktop experience and mobile. They're kind of built around the device the person is using. And same for just security and overall functionality. I mean, on the back end, it's the same product. I think generally in terms of mobile, one thing, again, sort of with Emerald Card is like it works with Apple Pay. And, I think tapping into that side of things is obviously important. Everyone has a phone on them. So that kind of gives us reach to more consumers. But in terms of the product itself, I mean, I think you'd be foolish not to recognize the importance of mobile. It's kind of interesting that it's sort of a topic in crypto and it's 2025, but maybe that shows like how far we have to go on UX.
I mean, I think we already have a ton of like apps on your phone. I don't really think we need like an app for every single DeFi protocol you're going to use. But I do think that people should design their websites to be mobile friendly. I don't really think that a lot of them do really good right now just being desktop friendly. So I think I've went to a couple DeFi applications and it just tells you that you can't even, we don't have a mobile app. It doesn't even give you an option to try to connect or anything like that. So a lot in the space are not really, I think, putting the effort forward to building mobile friendly. We did research to see like what percentage of users are using mobile versus like desktop for us. And it was 70% of our users were mobile. So I feel like if you're an application and you're not building mobile first, then you're missing a ton of users. And it should really be optimized to that experience, and working with different wallets and making sure that different screen sizes and different phones and everything's adaptable is super important. And also the main features are available on mobile just as they are as on desktop.
Is the 70% based on user count or is it based on TVL?
No, user count.
User count. And do you have the numbers for TVL?
No, not necessarily, because we don't map it that way. Mm-hmm. But it would be interesting to see. I'd bet it wouldn't. I think desktop would probably be more for TVL. Exactly. But if you think of the smaller users, though, they're definitely mobile users.
Yeah. Because we are seeing the same pattern at Ambire. We used to have like maybe the majority of the users was mobile. But in terms of TVL, the desktop was definitely dominating. But here, I'm a bit ashamed because we just deprecated our mobile app at Ambire, but we're redesigning a totally new generation of it based on the current product lineup. And I was about to say almost the same as Max already said. I was going to say that there doesn't need to be a compromise. First of all, generally speaking, you don't have to trade security for convenience. I'm a very big believer in this. If anything, they are synergetic, because when you make the UI more convenient, you make it less error prone. Same with when you make the UI easier, you make it less error prone, which makes it more secure by definition, because a lot of the security compromises that we see in our industry, they're not related to actual hacks where you get malware like from somewhere. You always get social engineered, whether someone makes you install malware or someone makes you give up your seed phrase or someone makes you sign an approval. It's almost always social engineering. And the way social engineering is prevented is with cleaner UX. So there doesn't need to be a trade-off there. But I also think, again, Max already said it, that you need to play into the strengths of the platform. On mobile, you have Apple Pay, which is a huge convenience. Now you have it on Apple laptops as well. But you can use passkeys also in a much easier way on mobile. So we should take advantage of this. And this is what we're thinking of at Ambire, where your main wallet, like cold storage, would be managed on desktop, but you would have a quick spending account on your mobile device. And it would be limited spending. The cool thing is that with account abstraction, it doesn't have to be a separate account. It can still be your main account, but you will have a limited spending key on your phone with a passkey, and you will have full access to your account through a desktop with a ledger. So this is kind of what we're thinking. Just take advantage of each platform's strengths.
All right, guys, do you feel that? It's about that time for hot takes. It's getting hot in here. All right. What's your spiciest take on dApps and consumer products right now? Ivo, we'll start with you.
With me?
Yeah, we're starting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That catches me a bit unprepared, but I think I already said my hot take. I have two hot takes. One of them is that we don't need to optimize for Web3 or Web2 users. We just need better UX in general, and that's the first hot take, that good UX is good UX for everyone. And then the second hot take is that convenience is not opposite to security, and convenience and security work in unison. So yeah, I would say that those are my hot takes. I would love to hear a different opinion.
Wesso, to you.
Okay. I don't really believe that smart wallets or account abstraction really solves anything.
Ooh.
I think there's still gas to be paid. It has to be paid by something that's like zero sum. And I think you still have to sign transactions. And I think it's been implemented over the course of the last few years, and nobody's really done a really good job at implementing it.
Can I respond to this?
Yeah.
I think first of all we're the only ones doing a good job, but that's not the point. The point is that you are completely correct. Actually, that's the hottest take of the day. I think he's absolutely correct. Except the gas thing is zero sum, but it makes it more convenient. Like for example, many people use layer 2s and they don't have native on layer 2s, so then they have to bridge, and this is really painful. Bridge or get funded from an exchange, and gas abstraction can solve that, but no one does it right. People think of gas abstraction like sponsorship, and that's not the correct way to do it, because always someone has to pay the gas. The correct way is to allow the user to pay the gas, but in a much more easy way, like we're doing. You can like fund your account one time with like $10, and this is good for forever on layer 2s. You don't need to ever care about going to a different chain and having money for gas on any chain whatsoever, as long as you have like one deposit of $10, for example. So that's the right way to solve it. But yeah, generally it's not exactly an overhyped tech, but it was promising a lot more than was actually solved, because a lot of the issues were actually solved with EOA wallets in the first place. Like for example, Rabi pioneered transaction patching on EOAs, so that kind of a little bit killed the value proposition of transaction patching on account abstraction. And also they did gas tank on EOAs. So those things are great when done correctly, but there are technical workarounds to implement them on EOAs as well. So yeah, I generally agree to 99%, but there is a point where account abstraction becomes really important, but we have no time to talk about this.
Yeah, and permit too for approvals.
Yeah.
Max, to you. What's your hot take?
I don't know if this necessarily counts as a hot take, but I do think you'll probably see more and more chains doing what we're doing in terms of having a native debit card. I think that we're kind of at the right place, right time. I think if you wanted to do this even a few years ago, like regulations just weren't there, and even the infrastructure. So that's obviously why you see kind of an explosion in people issuing crypto debit cards. But I think from even the chain level, it makes a ton of sense to have not necessarily something that disintermediates exchanges, but that gives users a kind of really direct off-ramp to basically spend the assets that they have on your chain, at like over 200 million locations worldwide. So I see that as like a pretty interesting kind of bridge to, on-chain, off-chain. And I'd be surprised if more people don't start doing it as well.
Sergej, to you.
So what I see is people building things based on the intent-based architecture. We launched our intent-based swap protocol in December 2022. It took like more than 2.5 years, so the narrative arrived. Unfortunately, not everyone understands that we should keep two things implemented in all the products what we develop, is the non-custody approach and atomic execution approach. So there are some of the intent-based protocols, also for cross-chain swaps, but the problem is they are not atomic and they are not non-custody. Yeah, they say some of them say that they are non-custody, but it's most of the case you need to trust someone. Yeah, you need to trust maybe a validator network. Like intent swaps from near, you rely on the validators. Yeah, I think I have seen outside relay guys, very nice. Under a couple of seconds you get on the destination chain, but you need to trust them. Yeah, for small amounts, it makes sense and it works very well. I like to see it. And I see also people going to cross-chain, multi-chain, omni-chain, how you call it. In general, I think like we have liquidity distributed, very distributed. Most of the liquidity is in Bitcoin, and I actually want to buy real Bitcoin for my Trump shitcoin, and you got it from a video, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so any meme coin, anything, any dust what I have somewhere, I would like to exchange for real Bitcoin, for example. And there are some possibilities, but not that easy that you can easily select the asset itself. It can be on multiple chains. So this is also kind of the trend. Everyone is moving to same as Uniswap. What I've seen, they try to just show you the tokens, the assets. And the network is kind of secondary information. Here we go to a seamless user experience, same as in centralized exchange and traditional stock exchanges.
By the way, I would like to put account abstraction and intents in one basket here and say that the entire community is making the mistake of thinking of those things as silver bullets. They are incremental improvements. Like both of those are technologies that can lead to incremental improvements. I wouldn't say small, but incremental. And all of this together with a lot of hard work on UX can transform the industry, but none of those transform the industry on their own, like overnight.
Also with intents, that you can lead to like a lot of removing of the DeFi core values. So like it's like a lot of centralization and trust. Like it's not trustless.
If they're not done correctly, yes.
Yeah, I know. But a lot of them aren't done correctly. So
Exactly, yeah. Currently.
It's trustless at 1 inch.
okay.
What's an intent done correctly?
That's a good question. I honestly I think intents do. I mean, they solve a problem, right? There's a lot of really complicated DeFi tasks that need to be done, whether it's routing or bridging. Even when I think about it, like for us, it was like, hey, like if I have USDC on Arbitrum and I want to go to Ethereum and I want to deposit into a Curve Vault, like an intent solution can help with that because then the solver can actually deposit for me. I don't have to worry about coding in like that routing or figuring out how to deposit and getting that back to the user. So I see the benefit of it, but it's like we really need to solve this. Like, how do we make this where I don't have to trust somebody? I'm not just going to send USDC to a wallet and then hope that somebody sends me back what I want. And so I think that's, as long as people are building with the same thought process in mind that we want to be trustless, we want to be able to still be decentralized in a certain way, and then use this as a solution, I'm okay with it.
By the way, account abstraction makes intents trustless, mostly.
Yeah, so there are two things like non-custody and atomic execution. These two things gives you the security.
All right, nearing the end of time, so I want to do 30-second elevator pitches of something that a specific upgrade, integration, or feature you're most excited about in your protocol. Ivo, you can go ahead.
So we only launched the Umbire extension a few months ago, so I already pitched it at the beginning, and I would love for you guys to try it, see how it compares to your current wallet, especially if your current wallet is MetaMask or Rabi, and tell us what you enjoy the most and what you hate the most. And we are very reachable on Discord, Telegram, absolutely everywhere. All of the links are on the website. And as I said, it makes self-custody easy and secure. This is our core value proposition. If you're into the tech, we use EAP 7702, which is the most exciting new upgrade.
All right, that's been 30 seconds. Sorry. Wesso, go.
Well, you should go to beefy.com if you haven't already used it. We make your life way easier. We have concentrated liquidity positions. We compound pendle positions. Any sort of DeFi yield you can find. We make essentially the auto compounding of that much easier. All of our tooling is built around users first. We've had 5 years of trust and feedback. So please try it out, beefy.com.
Thank you. Max, to you.
All right. So I think the main one is we recently announced our public DevNet for Infiny SVM. So if you want to build on our SVM layer 1 blockchain, now's a good time to get involved and look into it. Very quickly on like an actual consumer sort of update we pushed is subcards. So with Emerald Card, you can create an unlimited number of subcards. It's kind of like a neo-banking type thing. You could have one for groceries, subscriptions, and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of a cool direction that we're going in with that.
So We have a really nice thing. We are launching online hackathon. So we have a prize pool of $500,000 US for people who want to unite decentralized finances. We're expanding to different other chains with 1-inch protocols, and there are also open tracks for innovations in the DeFi space. On top of our protocols or additionally, so yeah, feel free to join us for $500,000 of the US prize pool.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you for joining us too, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.